National Chocolate Covered Cherry Day on January 3rd is for celebrating that combo that just naturally seems to go together. No, not peanut butter and jelly, not even peanut butter and chocolate, or it would be called National Chocolate Covered Peanut Butter Day. I'm talking cherries and chocolate here. Just as the holiday festivities are behind us and a new year begins, we look forward to the luscious confection that puts a smile on everyone's face and brightens our outlook for whatever waits for us in the new year ahead.
Cherry blossom, well it's thick chocolate on the outside. And it's creamy on the inside. When you get to the center, it's a very special center. It's a cherry special peanut crunchy chocolate coated creamy center. Cherry blossom.
Chocolate-covered cherries, also known as cherry cordials, have been enjoyed by Americans and indeed the world for generations. Early settlers from Europe were so fond of cherries they made sure that some were stashed among the cargo when they sailed the Atlantic Ocean to reach America in the 1600s. Cherries were a local crop in the Franche-Comté region, I guess, and they were in abundance. According to CandyFavorites.com, chocolate cherry cordials were first developed in the 1700s under the alternative name of griots, Griottes. The name of the local cherry species, griots, I'm not sure how you really pronounce that, are from the Franche-Comté region of France. They consisted of sour griotte cherries enclosed in a chocolate casing. A griotte was made by dipping the sour griotte cherries in chocolate and kirsch or cherry brandy. Unsurprisingly, this delicious concoction was a hit, and these yummy round treats eventually made their way to America. And forgive me if I mispronounce these words, I am not French, I can barely handle English. Liqueur chocolate cherries quickly became a beloved sweet treat in America. Other cordial candies were created, but chocolate-covered cherries remained the most popular. These tasty balls of joy evolved over time and eventually were enjoyed with a sugar syrup instead of liqueur, a similar concept to maraschino cherries.
These are Mount Morency tart cherries. They usually ripen the first week in July and they last 10 days to 2 weeks. And we machine harvest most of them, but we do have a U-pick operation. And we have a small pitter that we pit people's cherries if they pick them here and so choose. When you pick cherries, basically you go for color, and the darker the red, the riper the fruit. Orange cherries they're not quite mature, they're not quite ripe yet. These right here are perfect, they're red, they're good size. There's a big crop this year, biggest crop we've had in a long time, okay? That's why there's still a lot of orange cherries out here. They take longer to ripen when there's more cherries on the tree. So basically you just put your hand underneath and just give them a slight pull, and they come off very easily when they're ripe. So, and then the pitter, well, a lot of people pit them with clothespins, tweezers, and straws. I've heard straws, you push a straw through them, but of course our pitter does it all mechanically.
These days, chocolate-covered cherries can be made in a variety of ways, one being the use of a shell mold. Chocolate is poured into a mold to become a shell, and then cordial or sugar syrup is added along with the cherry. They can also be enrobed, which involves pouring liquid chocolate over the cherries or dipping them into melted chocolate. Although there are a variety of cherries now considered to be native to North America, the common belief is that cherries originated in Turkey. Cherries are known to be one of the oldest cultivated crops in the world, and it seems as though our love of cherries is deeply ingrained in human culture. Americans began making cordials using a strong, sugary syrup liqueur by crushing whole cherries, cooking them in sugar and brandy, then covering them with chocolate. These became known as cherry cordials, but other fruits were also made into cordials using the same brandy and sugar method. Cherry cordials were the most popular and usually reserved for holidays and special festivities. Eventually, the alcohol was removed from the recipe during Prohibition, and cherry cordials were instead made with cherry-flavored sugar syrup. By 1929, the first chocolate-covered cherries made with sugar syrup and no alcohol began to be mass-produced in America to meet the increased demand.
These cherries are brought to you by Burlington Northern. We bring carloads of cherries 2,027 miles by rail at a cost to you of about 3 cents a pound. Burlington Northern's been doing a lot to save you a little money, like moving trains more economically by pulling bigger carloads with more powerful diesels. So when Burlington Northern brings cherries to Chicago, we don't take much of a bite.
So you want to make yourself some chocolate-covered cherries? It's pretty easy, actually. In actuality, you really only need 2 ingredients if you want to take the simple way out. I'm a lazy man, so I'll tell you the lazy way to do it. All you need is prepackaged chocolate wafers and cherries, of course. Melt the chocolate in the microwave. Throw in your cherries after. Wait a few minutes for everything to dry, and boom! Instant chocolate-covered cherries. Alright, maybe that's not how you do things. It's certainly how I do things. If you want to take the long way, then do this. First, drain the cherries of all their juices and set them on a paper towel to dry. Next, combine the softened butter and corn syrup in a stand mixer and beat until smooth. Beat it, just like Michael Jackson. Stir in powdered sugar and then either use a dough hook or your hands to knead until the mixture forms a dough. You may need to chill the dough until it's nice and firm. See, already this is a pain in the butt. Then flatten out about a teaspoon of the dough in your palms and wrap each cherry. Place them on a tray or cookie sheet and pop them into the fridge or freezer until they're firm. Meanwhile, melt chocolate in a microwave-safe bowl combined with the oil for about 20 seconds at a time, stirring each time until the chocolate is just melted and completely smooth. Now dip each cherry into the chocolate while holding onto the stem and place on a baking sheet lined with wax paper or parchment paper. You can try to gently shake off the excess chocolate as well, then let them cool. And now for the hard part, leave them alone. Place in an airtight container and store in a cool place for 2 weeks. It promises the chocolate cordials to taste best if you wait until the fondant softens, which is a couple weeks. Or like I said, just stick the chocolate in the freaking microwave, take it out, throw the cherries in there, wait a couple minutes, let it hard, and then go to town. But either way. What is today? National Chocolate Covered Cherry Day, January 3rd. Will you be celebrating? What did you say? Your New Year's resolution is to cut out chocolate and lose weight. Well, sucks to be you. I guess you'll have to wait for National Tofu Day. I, for one, am going to down this box of chocolate-covered cherries. And until next time...